Yo, check. Cool, we are live for another Stacker News Monday, going through top dev stories. Another all-time high week on the devs territory, I have to say. So it's cool. So more and more, I'm gonna be parsing through these stories and actually skipping some of them as I find them boring. But seems like a lot of good ones flew by this week. I haven't read very many of them, so I'm excited to get into it. Oh, it's Super. Hey, Super. Yeah, come here. Don't bump into anything.
Just give you a big hug.
Okay.
Good to see you again, man.
Good to see you too.
Hi, Plebdevs. It's good. Enjoy Stacker News.
Legend. Thank you, Super. So glad to have you back in the lab. What do you think of the new lab?
My favorite part is the new Stacker News sign.
Yes.
And the part, or that sign, and this part over there where a car is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good space. The sign is actually, you can see the glow of the sign on my face on the camera. So that's how you know I'm truly at the doorstep in the gutter in front of Stacker News headquarters. So that's cool. Let's go. Yeah. We love Super. Okay, well, got a lot of stories to get through. So let's get started. So at the top, we're once again, as always, posts by ZapRank for the week. So yeah, as far as I know, ZapRank is the trust score plus the zaps. You can filter by just the sats as well, but I do ZapRank. So at the top here, Plebdevs tutorial, HTML and CSS. This was a little video I did last week. It's just a kind of an excuse to get your hands dirty and write your first website in about 20 minutes, if you've always wanted to do that. So definitely check that out if you're interested in writing some of your first code, writing your first website. I won't spend too long on my own stuff because, you know, can only do that so much. Okay, right here from Zeus Botirko, that's a mouthful. Where do you provide the most value for humankind? Bit of a typo here. There is an edit feature on Stacker News, but you only have 10 minutes. But we know what you mean, Zeus Botirko. So in general, I personally am kind of the type of person that's pretty interested in the edge of tech. I want to experience new and exciting projects and do what hasn't been done before. Or more realistically, at least work in a team close to that, okay? But recently I thought what my skills are actually the most useful for. So the following scenarios against each other in the thought experiment. Okay, so edge, stay on the edge of tech, working on new stuff, much experimentation, many fails, startups, young, and dynamic. Interesting. So I guess he's trying to like look at the different trade-offs of how he can provide the most value for humankind, which is a very valiant framing. So the edge, you're on the edge of tech. Corporate, bringing old corporate environments further towards today. The key thought about this is that maybe enabling 10 older experienced devs is more valuable for mankind than only myself doing my best. Okay. C, other industries. Being the techie in other industries where nobody else can code is hard. Finding places where people are open to this is rare. Bureaucracy, and finding places where introducing coding over Excel are rare, but can sometimes do it 100x more for industries. So where do you think of yourself to make the biggest difference? Okay, a little bit messy of a write-up here, but I see the question, and it's a good question. So most people are voting A here for staying on the edge of tech, which kind of makes sense. We're a little bit biased on being on Stacker News, literally on the edge of some of the coolest tech. Okay, so let's see what the people say. Silky Ninja. I'm not a dev. I found this post on the front page. Something that crosses my mind is a benefit specialization brings to the species in a super wide spectrum. I'm very interested in cutting edge exercise science as it relates to my work. If I were not so specialized across a wide spectrum, professional athleticism, blah, 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 and even adjacent fields of study to develop new perspectives, exercise science would not exist. In my opinion, new perspectives in exercise science lead to better conclusions about what is physical health. which benefit everybody. Not sure if this helps your problem, just something I've realized. My work benefits greatly from an ecosystem of great athleticism and scientific study of the mechanisms of human body. Neither of those two fields I could fully investigate alone. Okay, yeah, so that's a good point. It's kind of like you're at the edge of a field, but you're able to be extremely specific. But the reason you're able to do that is because you're kind of standing on the shoulders of giants, I guess, and you're able to use other people's work. That you couldn't have done it all yourself. So, I mean, it's a good point, and it's like, it's always true. You're almost always working within an ecosystem where people have built stuff prior to you. Always be edging. Let's go. I like working on new things. Yeah, I mean, what do you like doing? You don't need to look beyond the first one. It's the best reflection of what we Bitcoiners stand for. Yeah, value is subjective. That said, one interesting way to measure value is how many cumulative man hours are saved with a particular technology. That's a good point. Let's imagine you had an app that 1 million people use every day to achieve a certain outcome. Let's also assume they each need to spend 15 minutes using the app to reach their outcome. That equates to a cost on humanity of 250,000 human hours. If you can reduce the time spent in the app from 15 minutes to 14 minutes, you've given back 16,666 hours back to those people. Interesting. Okay, good points. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's a good question. It's a high-level question. You know, how do you make the biggest impact for humankind? But I feel like it's very subjective to you. It's very specific for you, and it's also like, do you want to do that? Maybe you want to do something super specific. Maybe you want to make art, and that will make people's lives better. But it's not quite as measurable, as quantifiable. But either way, interesting question. I mean, for me, I like being on the edge of tech. And yeah, I don't like being corporate. I find that it holds me back. It keeps me from doing more work than I would have done, and more work that I think in the end helps people. I mean, hopefully. And then other industries. I was a delivery boy. I like doing that. I listen to a lot of podcasts. But yeah, in general, I like staying on the edge of tech, and I think that's a great way to make impact because it is the frontier where there's new opportunity always. Okay, onward. Label base, all-in-one coin control and label management service for Bitcoin. Okay. Link to a Geyser Fund project, so they are seemingly raising funds. All-in-one coin control label management service for Bitcoin. Add, import, export labels. REST API for integration. Supports BIP 329 format. Stay organized. Yeah, so I guess this is within the idea of, the practice, which you should do, of labeling your transactions, labeling your UTXOs on chain. Seems to be a management service. Features for adding labels, importing, exporting, API. Okay, yeah, kind of just repeating the first line. Let's see what it looks like. Nothing yet. What's BIP 329? Let's look it up. BIP 329. Wallet labels export format. Okay, so it's a format for exporting labels. Export of funds across Bitcoin wallet applications. Okay, well, that's cool. Useful service. I mean, this is the kind of thing that almost seems like a micro app that you would want other wallet devs to implement. Like that would be cool. I mean, if I'm building a wallet and I am, want you to be able to import your labels and manage your labels, I would probably want to use something like this instead of have to build it from scratch each time, So, cool project. Throw you some zaps. Okay. That's my video from last week. From Zarko, HTML templates instead of reactivity. Okay, so it's a video here. The Primogen, shout out. Well, I mean, I guess the basic idea here is probably instead of using a framework like React that has not real HTML, but stuff that we call JSX that allows you to re-render and recompute the UI all the time. Very confusing. Using HTML templates instead. So having your dynamic data live on the back end, serve it up in static templates onto the front end. So there's a lot of good reasons to do that. Let's see what David W. says. I think we're going to see much more creative thinking like this, or people building with bog standard HTML like Super does. Shout out Super. It feels like it's going to take a flurry of attacks, but then common awareness in these coming years that third-party dependencies and frameworks are a huge liability and introduce immeasurable vulnerabilities. Hope I'm wrong. But what do I know? How do you devs think about convenience versus security? The node ecosystems. NPM-E, all the node ecosystem is hell of a liability. I'm slowly searching for a more secure and healthier approach. Yeah. So I guess, great comments, by the way. This is a good point from David W. So, you know, when you're building, if we're trying to build resilient software, we want to reduce dependencies. Like they're named dependencies for a reason. So that's something that's always true. But my angle and my bent is I'm always building these prototype projects, these example projects, tutorials. And when I started learning how to code, I didn't learn through the framework of the hardest security practices. Really, I was just trying to learn. I was just trying to make it. But for a lot of people, they start with these tools because these tools abstract away a lot of difficult things to deal with as a developer. So those abstractions are nice because they save you time and they may make it easier to get started or create something of quality that you might not be able to create on your own doing it all from scratch. So those are reasons that I think people use React, something like that, or heavily depend on multiple libraries and dependencies. But then eventually you get to the point where you're building something that maybe you need to optimize for security. So that's where you might reduce dependencies. That's where you might use a static framework, a static front-end framework that's very simple and handle everything on the back end, and then on the back end use heavily strongly typed language, you know, Rust, Go, TypeScript, or whatever. But those are all steps along this process, and I think that people, when they're in the earliest building phase, me at least, I return to these same tools that help me build something fast and that I'm familiar with, and where I know I can grab a package for this and a package for this. But that's just my perspective. Either way, I think David is totally right, and I think this is the very Bitcoiner type of opinion that's true and sneaking up on all of us devs as a reality that, like, yes, we're, in a lot of ways, we're building our apps on the sand with a bunch of dependencies. So, okay, interesting comment there out of HTML templates. iMessage 0-day exploit for sale in the dark web. This sounds fun. From Cowboy. Damn, that's a good name. .eth? Oh no. Okay, let's see what it is. Threat intel detected an iOS iMessage 0-day exploit for sale in the dark web. It's a zero-click exploit to take over control of the phone via iMessages. Its asking price is $2 million. So they're selling this software on the dark web. $2 million. This would make sense for very high-value individual targets. As more of the 0-day is used, more likely it is caught in the wild by researchers. I say, so they discovered this exploit, but they don't want to just like start using and abusing it. They want to use it as little as possible to make the most profit. Or I guess the person that discovered it, really, they just want to sell it. They don't want to deal with that risk. Hey, there's me. Oh yeah, and Trust Wallet found this. Trust Wallet, I think they're like a shitcoin wallet. I think they discovered this independently. Alert for iOS users. We have credible intel regarding high-risk zero-day exploit targeting iMessage on the dark web. I actually saw this and I turned my iMessage off. It's actually still off, I think. So shout out to Trust Wallet. Props where props are due. But yeah, that's crazy. More and more Apple exploits. Like, I know there was a Mac M1 exploit that apparently an app that had access to your processor could basically run its own processes independently, which is like the ultimate pwn. So yeah, it's crazy. Thanks for sharing, Cowboy. All right, another Plebdevs story here. I posted this today. Review of the Bitcoin halving code. I had the idea on the halving. I was like, I haven't looked at the block subsidy code in a long time. And I remembered, I thought someone did a video on it forever ago. Maybe it was Andreas Antonopoulos or someone like that. But I was like, hey, I should review the code and see if I understand it and see if we can kind of go through Bitcoin Core and sort of test it out and play around with it. So did that. That was pretty cool. Okay, the next two are also mine. This one is fun though. I'm excited to talk about this one. Bitcoin new integer overflow bug at block height 2,147,483,647. So this is a Bitcoin Core issue. I actually saw Brian Bishop is the one that initially shared this on the Twitter. Yeah, let's open this up and zoom in. Look at this title. Insane. So sign integer overflow and get block subsidy. It's crazy too, because this was the exact code I was reviewing in my halving video. I mean, it's like literally 11 or 10 lines of code. So I missed this in my review. Oops. And get block subsidy at block height 2,147,000,000 during epoch 10,227. So having 2,1026 could increase the block subsidy total supply or potentially halt the network. So overflow bug, very bad. So the get block subsidy function could potentially encounter a signed integer overflow if in height, so this is the block height, reaches the next value at this number, 2 billion, causing it to wrap to negative 2 billion. This overflow can disrupt the halving mechanism implemented in the function, particularly around the calculated 10,226th halving interval, derived from int_max divided by in subsidy halving interval. Yeah, so this is the exact code that we reviewed. And this is the line that he's talking about. So it's a division, but we see the in height here, which is the block height, is an integer. And that integer has a max number of bytes. And I guess those bytes overflow at this number. That's how it seems. And when that happens, it flips over to the negative. So the implication, such an overflow could lead to erroneous block subsidy calculations, impacting not only the subsidy value, but also the overall supply curve of the cryptocurrency. Yeah, that's really bad. Expected behavior, further analysis. It's conceivable that additional changes to the code might be necessary, especially in relation to handling the overflow of block height. Currently, with in height as an integer type, Bitcoin is projected to reach its limit at the 10,226th halving, which corresponds to approximately the year 42,913. So about 2,900 years away. Sorry, 40,900 years. And he does the map here, 10,026 times 4 plus 2009. So every 4 years, yeah, on average. So that 4 is kind of stepping in for the 210,000. So, yeah. This was just funny to highlight. Very low time preference thinking. So we have 40,000 years to fix it. I think that's what Jason said here. Whoa, the good news is we got about 40,000 years to resolve this bug, right? Exactly. Increase your time horizon. Yeah, exactly. Bitcoiners think in decades. It was fun while it lasted. Bitcoin is dead, everyone. Someone restart Bitcoin. Unplug it and plug it back in. Okay, so that was a fun one. Another Plebdevs workshop from this past weekend, Nostrwalla Connect, with our good friend Damien. And yeah, this it's my favorite protocol on Nostr. It's my favorite feature of Nostr, Nostrwalla Connect. So I highly suggest you learn about this protocol. It will give you a huge edge as a app builder, especially as an app builder that wants to work with Lightning. Nostrwalla Connect, it unlocks a lot, has an amazing user experience. So I really suggest you check that out. Okay, ECMA script 2024 takes shape. It's from Choke 1. The latest update to the JavaScript standard brings 7 new features, including array grouping, growable, array buffers, and promises. With resolvers, okay, so I was learning how to code when the last JavaScript or ECMAS script update happened. So that's kind of cool. That was like 5 or 6 years ago or something like that. So update to ECMA standard. Let's see the features. Where are the features? Oh, it doesn't say. So for array grouping, I don't know what that means. Proposal array grouping. Make groupings of item in an array and iterables easier. Okay, that's kind of cool. Array grouping, array buffer transfer, resizable and growable array buffers. Serve as sync up capability with WebAssembly memory growth. That's pretty cool. Oh, we know what WebAssembly is. So more memory for WebAssembly. That's bullish. There's more and more people building with WebAssembly. Tidwell was telling me, I think he's building his Bitcoin game in Rust and compiling it to WebAssembly. Asynchronous atomic await. That sounds fucking cool. Excuse my language. Atomic await, primarily for use in agents that are not allowed to block. Oh, so like a non-blocking await. An agent on a separate thread. Okay, I don't totally get it, but that was a cool name. All right, new JavaScript standard. Thanks for sharing. Choke 1. Could probably still take years to get into place. Example of a 6-second rule out in the wild. This is a fun one. So this was me from last week. Okay, let's, do we need to open this? Yeah, we need to open this on Twitter. So the 6-second rule, if you haven't heard about this, it's just the idea of like recruiters only look at your resume for like 6 seconds. So this guy, I applied to 100 jobs using a resume with the name Kisma D Nuts, and I got 29 interviews. This is what I've learned about resumes. So he puts his resume here. Put your recruiter hat on and read this resume. Would you give this person an interview? Okay, just give it like, zoom in, can we zoom in? Okay, if you can read that, just read this for like 20 seconds. Would you give this guy an interview? Just 20 seconds. You're a busy recruiter. Okay. So he goes on to say, one more chance. Are you sure you give this person an interview? I was thinking to myself, like, yeah, well, kind of. He looks good. How about now? Most recruiters only spend about 6 seconds reviewing your resume. Therefore, they will not read through all of your bullets initially. Focus on crafting the perfect resume template. This guy's shilling his product, I think, which that's genius marketing. But this is what he highlighted here. To provide a 420 FPS on-screen experience with Lana Rhodes. Hosting orgies on Friday. My dog winning the World Cup by 20%. So yeah, basically he put a bunch of garbage in there. Directly connected with rich sugar daddies to successfully raise 150 million. Yeah, that's pretty bad. But yeah, he got, how many jobs did he say? Or interviews or whatever? I got 29 interviews out of 100. Despite that, we got 29 interviews at these big, medium, and small companies, which shows that the 6-second rule isn't isolated to a specific size of company. Remember the hidden eye tracking experiment with recruiters. They read in an F format, which means the biggest factors in your resume are, as long as your resume looks like a good resume, the template I shared above, 80% of your bullet points must have numbers, clear job titles. Wow, I've never seen this before. That's really interesting. The F. Damn. Recruiters can only read in the shape of an F. That's crazy. Can I get an F in the chat? Okay, so I thought that was kind of funny. And just a good reminder for, I guess when you're crafting that stuff, trying to get a job. All right, onward. Question. Why don't there is a limited supply of cowboy hats on SN? I think I commented on this one. An idea came to mind. Limited supply of cowboy hats on SN will be amazing. People hunt for hats, battle for hats, anxiety about losing it, trade it, buy it, sell it for sats. I'm not a very good cowboy. I'm not a top cowboy by any means. But some cool ideas to gamify the cowboy hat further. There is. It's just capped at 21 million hats. Not 21 million. It'd be 2.1 quadrillion. Actually, I love that meme. Or random rewards for folks with cowboy hats. That's a cool idea. Hat should give an extra benefit, so it would be more coveted. This is what I said. Something I thought that would be cool is if you could randomly find a 10-gallon hat, gives you a temporary boost to your trust score, thereby increasing the default reach of your posts. This would incentivize you to post, to still to earn sats, but would give you a distinct edge while wearing it. So I like that kind of stuff. Like you can earn it, and then you have an advantage, but that advantage still has you creating more, hopefully good content on Stacker News. So I think the bar for hat acquisition should be raised, but 1 hat per user is a fine supply. Okay. So feature request, throw it in the devs territory. It makes sense. All right. Programming sucks is the title of this. From stilldrinking.org. That's a great TLD. That definitely sounds like a senior engineer. Stilldrinking.org. Okay, what does he say here about programming sucks? Every friend I have with a job that involves picking up something heavier than a laptop more than twice a week eventually finds a way to slip something like this into a conversation. Bro, you don't work hard. I just worked 4,700-hour week digging a tunnel under Mordor with a screwdriver. They have a point. Mordor sucks. And it's certainly more physically taxing to dig a tunnel than poke at a keyboard, unless you're an ant. But for the sake of the argument, can we agree that stress and insanity are bad things? Awesome. Welcome to programming. All programming teams are constructed by and of crazy people. All code is bad. There will always be darkness. Of course, because we're in dark mode. A lot of work is done on the internet, and the internet is its own special hellscape. We didn't start our crazy. We're being driven crazy. We didn't start out crazy. Nice. Also, bullet points summarizing the article. I see 0x Bitcoiner. I see you. Summarizing the article so I don't have to dig through it myself. That's nice. Yeah, these are pretty good takes. I especially like these first two ones. All programming teams are constructed by and of crazy people, and all code is bad. This has definitely been my experience. But also, I've done, I would say, blue collar work and different kinds of work before. I used to set up stages. Used to be a leather working apprentice. I used to be a delivery boy. I worked at Panera Bread for 7 years. So I've had a lot of different jobs, not exactly like construction jobs. But I definitely look back at my delivery job the most, and I miss it. Because I was moving around a lot. I was outside a lot. And yeah, programming can be depressing. It's really hard. It's kind of like, but you're buying into this default lifestyle that by default you're going to get driven crazy and be isolated alone and stuck inside and have a bad back. So it's like you're making those trade-offs of lifestyle for, I guess, more money or because you want to do it. But then it doesn't have to be that way. You know, you can, like, I'm standing up right now. My back is fine. I get sun. I walk pretty often every day. But yeah, it's hard. It's kind of like that's the default. You're stuck at a desk. But lots of other people are stuck at a desk in their jobs doing something worse than programming, like not even really solving problems at all and just working in Excel all day. Or I don't know what they do, but I think that's worked. I think programming is cool. It's fun. It's exciting. But yeah, you, especially if you're just like a remote dev or whatever, you're gonna be stuck inside. So you have to figure out how to have a healthy lifestyle and not be driven crazy and move on when you join a team of crazy people. But yeah, all code is still gonna be bad. That is a fact. There will always be darkness. I was born in the darkness. But yeah, that was a funny post. Thank you, 0x Bitcoiner. Release 3.0 Bitcoin hardware wallet interface. Let's check it out. So this is Bitcoin Core, HWI releases. So HWI is the hardware wallet interface. It's also available on PyPy and can be installed with pip install -u HWI. Emulators option to enumerate and detect emulators. Rebuild to attempt to avoid antivirus false positive. Okay, I've never messed around with HWI, but cool to see an update here. What does it say on PyPy? The Bitcoin hardware wallet interface is a Python library and command line tool for interacting with hardware wallets. It provides a standard way for software to work with hardware wallets without needing to implement device-specific drivers. Yeah, so this was, I know not everyone uses HWI as far as I know, but it's just like the attempt to have a more standardized interface between the hardware wallet devices and the software that might be accessing them. Like if you might have Blue Wallet as your on-chain hot wallet or something like that, and maybe interacts with your cold card or a number of other different devices. So it's good to have a standardized interface. So 3.0, good number. Let's go. Thanks for sharing. Roll. Another good name. Okay, what do we got here? Coin selection. Okay. Let's check out coin selection. Coin selection is the method a wallet uses to choose which UTXOs to spend in a particular transaction. It's actually an interesting topic. Most early Bitcoin wallets implemented relatively simple coin selection strategies, such as spending UTXOs in the order they were received, first in, first out. But if fees have become more of a concern, some wallets have switched to a more advanced algorithm that tries to minimize transaction size. Coin selection strategies can also be used to improve on-chain privacy by trying to avoid the use of UTXO associated with previous transactions in later unrelated transactions. That's crazy. So these are all the dimensions across time from Bitcoin Optech. Yeah, that is a hard problem. So if you don't understand this little aspect of Bitcoin, let me pull up mempool. So the fees in Bitcoin are measured by, we have this metric, VB, virtual bytes. Can essentially just think of it as bytes. I'm not going to describe what virtual bytes is right now. I'm going to get triggered. But so the cost of your transaction, of course, we know in Bitcoin, it's not measured by how big of a transaction you're creating as far as the value of Bitcoin. You can move, 1,000 Bitcoin, and it can be the same price as me moving 1,000th of a Bitcoin. But it's the size of the transaction, and the size of the transaction is based on the inputs and outputs. So I guess this is a bad example because they have one input. Let me find just another random transaction here. $1,000. Let's click on this one. One input. I want to find a transaction with multiple inputs. Okay, here we go. So we've got multiple inputs and one output. And this is actually a good example of a consolidation right here. This looks like a UTXO consolidation. So, whoever this person is, they have all these little bits of Bitcoin, these separate UTXOs, these separate outputs. They're sitting in their wallet, and they spin it into a transaction to go back into one single thick, girthy output. And of course, this is the fee. This is the fee that's going to the miner. So you always have that split. There's always going to be at least two outputs because of the fee or potentially change. Though the fee isn't technically, well, yeah, it is an output. It is an output, sorry. But yeah, so we see all of these bits of data consolidating into this one bit of data. The size of this transaction is 1.23 kilobytes. Virtual size of 584 VB. And what did he pay? 72,000 sats. I can't even believe 72,000 sats is $48. That's crazy. I feel like that's still like $8. But yeah, so that's kind of, I guess, the considerations, coin selection. So like, if you have a wallet with a bunch of these and you're just an ignorant user, you're spending your money, like, what is the criteria for which these outputs should be selected? It's kind of like a really hard problem. So I would love to see more of a write-up on this that's less dense. Some nice bullet points. I love bullet points. To dig into that more. But yeah, thanks for sharing, Roll. That was awesome. Zaps are flying. Origin hacker broke the DVD security code. SQL learning roadmap. What is gRPC? Must read for any front-end dev. Let's look at this SQL learning roadmap. This diagram provides high-level roadmap of the core SQL concepts and how they fit together. Covers key elements like databases, tables, data types, functions, and essential statements to query and modify data. Use this visual overview to guide your learning journey and grasp the different pieces of SQL work together. So cool. I always look for graphics like this for my workshops and my slideshows, my courses. But sometimes graphics, they can be even more confusing. So how to learn SQL is the graphic. So these are some of the different concepts. Target operation, DDL. I don't know what this means. What does DDL stand for? DQL. So these are queries. So is that database query language, database something language? So we've got our clauses and our queries. This is a lot of what we do from join, inner join, left join, right join. This is more of an architectural overview of SQL. I would say it's a very good way of learning SQL. What is What is DDL and DML in SQL? DCL. DCL stands for data control language. DDL stands for data definition language. DML stands for data manipulation language. Okay. Okay, that would be nice if that was on this chart right here. So we've got data querying, data, what is it? What was it? DDL, data definition, data management, DCL and TCL. Okay, that's interesting. I want, like, I like how this looks in general, but I want like a series of more graphics that break this down and give me some bullet points, explanations. But thanks for sharing, Isaac. What is gRPC? I use gRPC all the time. We use it quite a bit with Plebdevs. Got a summary here, so that's nice. gRPC is a high-performance, open-source remote procedure call framework. Whoa! Initially developed by Google. Leverages HTTP/2 for transport, protocol buffers as the interface description language, and provides features such as authentication, load balancing, and more. So key features of gRPC: speed. It's built on HTTP2 and protobufs for high throughput and low latency. Yeah, so that's usually the reason I use gRPC is speed, and also it's not asynchronous, it's synchronous. So you can like open up, it's kind of like opening up a WebSocket or something on Nostr. You open up a socket and you can start reading data in continually and not just like requesting or pulling for it. The compact protobuf binary format means smaller payloads than JSON. Okay, I see. I always wondered what protobuf meant, or what you were doing exactly with gRPC, because I usually abstract some of this away with libraries. Speaking of dependencies and using dependencies, relying on them. But I guess it like takes your commands in like a JSON format, but then it codes it in binary to have it just be faster and more efficient. So type safety, polyglot, write services in many popular languages. It's got a great ecosystem, many tools for codegen, load balancing, monitoring, and more. Okay, drawbacks of gRPC: it's more complex. Defining protobuf schemas and setting up gRPC can have a learning curve. Yeah, which is why I always have done this with libraries that kind of abstract it away and help you a bit more. It's not human readable. Protobufs are binary. Who says binary is not human readable? I took base 58 and binary. Wait, no, that's hex. Never mind. I'm a dummy. But hex started to become pretty human readable, thanks to base 58. Limited browser support. gRPC works best for backend and microservices, not front-end apps. Yes, have also had that experience. So let's see this graphic. I feel like I'm gonna hate it. I already hate it. Okay, local call versus RPC remote procedure call. So process order management, local call, payment, data format, string required, string repeated optional, use cases. Okay, yeah. How do we transmit data via gRPC? Client application, RPC call. So it gets encoded. Client stub. I guess that's the binary encoding. gRPC runtime sends it via the transport, HTTP transport protocol. So it receives the receiver, transport, 5 receive, decodes, local call, return, encodes it back, sends it back, receive, decode, result. Okay, that's actually kind of simple. Client application, server application. I don't know how HTTP2 totally works. Let's see if we can find a graphic. HTTP2 graphic. Open image in new tab. Multiplexing. I actually read about this on another top devs. So this is HTTP 1.1, 3 TCP connections. So someone's got like jQuery, jexample.css, image. So they're all on different threads or different TCP connections, I see. So multiplexing allows you to group them together into one TCP connection. And I guess that's the difference between HTTP 1 and 2. So you can have multiple connections for different types of data, but over the same TCP socket, I guess is how that works. So that's interesting. So gRPC is just leveraging that in like a binary format to super speed it. Okay, well, kind of cool. Thank you for sharing, Azik. Let's see. Yeah, that was about it for the week. So that was good. Some cool stories, a few memes, a few bugs, a few exploits. Well, only one exploit, but there's one that wasn't shared here. I know that for sure. But nice. Thank you to all those that are continuing to post on the devs territory on Stacker News. Appreciate it. I don't have a chart, but I feel like the numbers are going up. More zaps, more comments, more posts. So yeah, we'll still be here. So I'm gonna get into some live coding next. Let me update my notes here. No, not right now. Remind me later. I'm gonna do some live coding on my Plebdevs platform. Yeah, I'm gonna grab a drink real quick. Then we'll get started on that. All right, let's do some coding. I'm gonna be working on some Zap front-end stuff, probably to start a Zap modal. Let me pull up, I've got my code here. I'm gonna zoom hella in. Ooh, not that far in. That's kind of good. I think that's kind of good. Okay. Let's get this running. So it'll take a second. Yeah, I feel like I learned a few things. It's been cool diving into some core code and reading it. It's been a long time since I've tried to read any C++ or look into the core code. So yeah, if you don't know, this is my Plebdevs platform that I am currently still in the process of building. Probably about 70% done, something like that. And I'll give you the full tour in a second. But yeah, it's basically just going to be a place to host all of my content and have it be interoperable with Nostr, Lightning, and have Lightning subscriptions and zaps and stuff like that. Pleblab is popping today. I'm sure you can hear some of the background noise, so sorry about that. So here we go. This is what Plebdevs currently looks like. So pretty simple. I wanted you to immediately see content as soon as you landed on the homepage and just see that there's value here. Most of it for free. Some of it will be paid. So there's 3 main carousels here for courses, workshops, and resources. And this is kind of just example data. I mean, I guess like this is a real workshop I did. And you can click on it here. Yeah. And yeah, so kind of just basic rendering right now. There's still some stuff I have to fill in. But yeah, like the idea is that first of all, I am going to be hosting my content up here and it'll be available on Nostr. You'll be able to zap it. and all of that. It'll make me feel more in control of my content. But eventually I'm gonna allow other people to post and upload their content here. So if you're a digital creator, you wanna leverage Nostr, you wanna leverage Lightning, you wanna be able to take in subscriptions in Lightning. This is gonna be something that hopefully I'll be able to provide to other people eventually, but build it out for myself at first. So it's looking all right. I was working on the thumbnails most recently, and I like how they look. That was a really hard front end thing, is like getting the thumbnail. So like these two images are different sizes, but getting the thumbnails to like reconcile and be the same size no matter what image is in them, it's just one of those like always difficult front end problems. So it took me quite a few iterations. And yeah, so this data right here, this is being pulled from Nostr. So my app has a database using Prisma, but this database is really just storing metadata and kind of pointing you to where it is on Nostr. And then I do store drafts. So like you'll have a draft that you're working on for something before you post it. But yeah, quite a bit still to do, but something fun that we'll get right into is the zaps. So I'm reading in zaps. I should be able to zap. I have like a basic implementation of that, and we can see like this has been zapped 3 times or 3 sats. I think it should be showing the sats amount. But I want you to be able to click this right here, like you can't click it right now, and have it open up a modal or some type of thing, maybe like a pop over, pop down thing, so you can select how much you want to zap. And from there, I'll kind of call the zap function. I'm seeing though, one quick thing I want to do here is have cursor pointer on these images. And I've got templates for these. So content, carousels, templates. So these are basically like the thumbnails. So the image, this is what wraps the image. And I'm going to say cursor pointer. And I'll add these on the other 2 templates. These templates are all extremely similar, like almost exactly the same, but I'm just keeping them separate right now because I don't know if I'll need to have special considerations for them over time, but you can always make it more generic in the future. Okay, so that is done. And actually in these templates also, let's get started on the course template, is this pi bolt, which is showing the zap amount. That's our little bolt here. So we're gonna want this to open up a little zap popover. So I'm gonna create a new component for this. So we've got content, forms, navbar, profile, sidebar. What do we want to call this? Zaps. So I guess this can be like kind of a generic popover for any kind of zaps we do. So I'll probably just make a new folder called zaps here. Say zaps. And yeah, so we're showing the zap amount here. So let's go ahead and turn what we have right here into a component, just so we don't messy up the course template anymore. So what would I call this? I would call this the zap bolt, I think, or zap display. Yeah, zap display.js. And then we'll have a zap popover, or yeah, we'll make that in a second. Let's get this in here. And start writing our first code. So concept display, export default, return, and this is what we're returning. And we need some imports for, do we, for the pi bolt? I guess we don't. But also this will take in the zap amount. That will be passed in. There's not going to be any logic here. least yet. Okay, so that should be the same thing. I'll just go ahead and update that. So import zap display. Cool. And zap display with all we need is zap amount equals zap amount. Okay, cool. So that should look the same. I added these skeleton loaders. I love them. Okay, cool. So it looks the same. So now from this starting point, we kind of have our code separated out. That's a good place to start. So when this clicks, we are going to open a thing, a something. And I'm going to find this from, this is Prime React. This is the component library I'm using. So messages, toast. I'm looking for something like a pop. I think they call it a popover pop. Pop up. Okay, yeah. So confirm pop up, confirm dialog. So yeah, something like this. So you click the button, it opens. Okay. But a confirm pop-up needs to be present on the page as interacting. I want you to be able to like click it and unclick it. Is there another kind of pop-up? Confirm pop-up. Confirm pop-up. There isn't. Drop down, editor, float label, icon field. Toggle button, no. Scroll panel, tab view toolbar. I guess overlay panel. What about this? Image, search. Okay. Also known as a popover is a container component that can overlay another component on the page. Okay, cool. So that's what we're looking for. So let's just steal. Yeah, we'll copy this import. I like Prime React. It's a pretty great library that allows you to use Tailwind for one, but also have great default components that you can also like edit to a decent degree. So this P tag will kind of be our button here. And then that will open up the overlay panel. So let's see. Let's look at this code. Not copy code. Toggle full code. So there's a use ref to keep track of it, if it's popped or not. And OP. Oops. Can make that smaller though. Overlay here. But I'm not going to put this image. I'm just going to say, hello world. There we go. And then now this should have an on click, or does it need a ref? Let's see, their button here, label image, on click. Yeah, so it uses the .current to update the ref. Sweet, let's see if it works. So this will be on courses. Hello world, cool. Yeah, I like it as a popover. Okay, so now this is an example I found from Noster Design for kind of like a Zap UI that people have done. So I want to have predefined amounts. I want to have an input, put your amounts, and then an optional comment. And then there has to be Zap button. That's quite a bit. Let's go to our forms here. Data button. Form. Book group. Let's start with the buttons. I guess I can just do a row of buttons. Yeah. So now we'll make a new component for this. So we have zap display. And now I'm gonna have zap popover. Zap form.js. Zap form. Support default. Okay, so where do we have buttons? Button, split button, speed dial. Yeah, I'll just do row buttons. Class name, so flex row, justify start, and we'll just put space in between each one. And let's put in some buttons. Label, so we'll do what should be our zap amounts? I don't know. Let's do 1. Have 1 just to test for right now. This will be 10. This will be 21. We'll do 100. 500, and then we'll do 1,000. Okay. P button rounded. P. Let's see how that looks. And then each of these, I want a little bit of margin right. 2. Number 2. Okay, see how that looks. Oh, I haven't put it in yet. So we got zap form here. Let's put it into zap display. Zap form. Oof, okay. Can you control where it pops? I see. So it wants to pop over to the right here. These buttons are so... Yeah, let's... P button rounded. So there's another way that we need to define the style here of the button. I always get this confused. This component library. I want to have rounded... or outlined buttons like this. I think I want to do like this. So we just have rounded, and then the labels primary. I'll make these green though. So label success and rounded. Oh wait. So just keep this. And we'll get to the zap flow here in just a second. Just want to get this laid out. So actually this should be rounded. Yep. Rounded. Okay, cool. I saw those rounded there. And what else do we know? We want to do severity success. Success to make it green. And we want to also do text white. Text white. It should work. Let's see if it works for the first one before we copy it all in. Yeah. Do I want to do text white? That looks terrible. Can I do ghost white? I love ghost white. Oh no, does it exist? It doesn't exist. Is there like a white? Let's do gray. We can keep it black for right now. Black text. That's fine. It shows up well. Just want to get this down for the moment. What other colors do they have though? Should I do green? I use green a lot. Info, warning, help. Oh, let's do help. It's purple. Nah, we'll leave it as is right now. This UI is not important. Okay, so next, a form. This will be for the actual number of sats you want to zap. Input group. I think it should just be input text. Yeah, input text. Right, custom amount. There we go, class name. So where's this gonna sit? It'll sit at the start as well. So that's actually, we should be good. Oh, no, this is in a row. So we actually want an outer div here to make. So flex and flex call. I'll throw it up here. Do it like that. Okay. Okay, and then for this, I'll just wrap this in its own div and we'll give it a width of like 60%. And it should sit to the left side. So W 60%. Sweet. Let's just give it some margin now and it should be good. Margin, what can I just do? Like 4. Do it only on the top and the bottom. Sweet. Custom amount. And then this will actually be another flex row. Flex row. So that way we can actually do width 100%. But we'll do justify between. Then we can have another button here. Don't need that. Confirm. And we'll just make this default. There we go. That looks kind of doable. To start, I want to make it a different, but no, not rounded. Do outlined. That should be kind of pretty. Okay, that's fair enough. Cool. So looking back at our design here, we still have a comment field, and then there's going to be the final Zap user button. So let's add, this will actually be a text area here, so a little bit bigger. And that will be below, once again. Put text area. And then finally there will be a confirm button. Zap, yep. Okay, let's see how that looks. Looks all right to start. It's a bit big, but I mean, at least it's not something you'll like accidentally I don't know, hit the Zap button on, which can happen sometimes. Okay, I want to get this form management done as quickly as possible. So I'm actually going to ask ChatGPT to help me with that. And we're just going to say, can you do the basic form management for this component? All it needs is a Zap amount provided by the buttons, or a custom amount in the input, and the comment is optional. And that should give me a bit of a speed boost here. Probably set aside some state, and that way I can just focus on how we're going to submit this to the Zap function. So handle Zap button, handle custom amount change, handle submit. Cool. Might also disable the Zap button until you've selected something. Cool. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, let's see how it works. So button still isn't disabled. So I have a default amount of 0. But if I put in 1, it's 1. Okay, well, so that's pretty nice. So actually I don't really need that confirm button, do I? Yeah, I don't. Yeah, it looks good. And then we zap, we should get a comment, console log, the zap amount with comment empty string. Yo, 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 yo. Cool. All right, that saved us a few minutes. It's always nice to use ChatGPT for stuff like that. Okay, so now we're gonna handle the zap. So into the use Noster hook we go. I have updated this a few times now, and it's finally working great. And I have this zap event, basically function. I'm just using use callback here, but it takes an event and a bunch of stuff happens. So let's look through this. So we grab the kind 0, kind 0.lud16. So we grab the information we need here to get the invoice. Get the invoice, allow Noster, make sure we can create a zap request. I see, so there's a flow here that's possible for if they do or do not allow Noster. But yeah, I'll have to think about that, because you can pay them either way. If they have a LUD16, you can pay them. It's just if they don't have Noster, then you don't get that public zap, but we'll deal with that later. So sign the event, send the zap request, invoice response. We get back the invoice. Okay. And then here we're just enabling window.webln enable, send payment, get pay invoice response back. And when we send the payment, the wallet that receives should be the one that broadcasts the Zap receipt. Let's just see if this works right now. Let me see if I can just pull in Zap event and pass in. Oh, it takes in the event. And it does not take in the amount right now. Okay. So we need to take in the amount as well. And really, it shouldn't take in the entire event. We should just take in pub key. Or event.pub key. We should take an event because you can zap. So you can zap both a profile and a user. Sorry, both a profile and an event. But in this scenario, for how we're going to use this, it's only ever going to be an event. But still, all the same, we go through the same flow here, getting the event pub key. But we would also want the event ID. Are we putting the event ID? We are. Okay. Event ID, event pub key. Okay, so we do need to pass in the whole event. And I'll just replace amount right here. Default relays. Dev zap. Amount is amount. All right, let's give it a whirl. So into Zap form we go. Import use noster. And const Zap event equals use noster. Zap event. I believe I need to await this. So this needs to be equals async. That's not how you spell that. So const response equals await. Let's just console.log the zap response. Okay, let's give it a try. Let's zap ourselves like 100 sats. 100. Hey, ha 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 ha. Okay. Error fetching kind 0. Oh, I'm not passing. Oh, I'm an idiot. Zap amount and comment. The comment is another thing we'll have to deal with passing in. Oh, I did a dumb event amount. We'll have comment. And comment is, if there is a comment, if that's true, then make it comment, else make it plebdev zap. Cool. So handle that, but we still need the event, and we have to get the event from zap form. But zap form doesn't know what this event is at all. And then we got zap display. Zap display is only getting the zap amount. So into the course template we go. This is where I just pass in course. We'll call it event. Event equals course. And then into the zap display, take in course and pass it down. Course event. It's actually going to be called event. Event equals event. It's only called course inside of the course template. Okay. Now zap form has the event. And zap amount comment. And event will be first. Okay, sweet. So that should give us something a little bit more exciting to see. Let's try our 100 sats again. Event is undefined. This is in zap event. Use noster 88. Okay. Let's console log event inside of zap form. Event is undefined. In zap display, event is the second argument. We pass it down. In course template, we pass event as course. But course is maybe initially null. No, it's not. So let's check it here. It's not in zap form or zap display, course template. I'm calling it event. So what's up with this? I know I've got the course here. Let's do a refresh. There we go. That was weird. Okay, I just had to refresh. We're not crazy. Get rid of these console logs. All right, let's try our zap again. Clear this out. I'm gonna go ahead and refresh for sanity's sake. Let's see, 100 sats. Zap, okay, we get an error. Error fetching LUD16 data. Okay. Amount 100. We're not converting the amount correctly because I need to take in the zap amount. So this will be from zap form when we submit. Const millisat amount equals zap amount times 1,000, and we'll pass in the millisat amount. It's always the millisats. Okay. There's our zap request. Okay. Pay now, 7 cents. Zap response undefined. That's in my zap form, but my use Nostr hook is getting the response back. So it seems we successfully paid the invoice. Am I going to display it though? It's only displaying these 2 zaps. Even though I see 3 zaps inside of my component here, so 735, 9735. These are all the zap receipts. This is a 1 sat payment. 1 sat payment. Another 1 sat payment. Okay. Let's see if our payment's sent through the wallet. 100 sats was sent, and this is actually going to my Stacker News. And here we go, I see it, Plebdevs Zap on Note. So why are we not pulling it in? What's up, Alberta? Welcome. We're making zaps work. So the payment's sent, but we're not reading it back in from Nostr. So now I have a separate function which reads in the zap receipt. So I feel like we're gonna need to poke into there, yeah, because we're only showing 2. Only showing 2, so. Yo, I'm doing good. Just read some top devs stories from Stacker News, and just doing some live coding now on the Plebdevs platform. I'm trying to build out basically like a place to host my content, allow it to be like tippable, and have it kind of be able to interoperate with Nostr, with Lightning. So it's a fun project. Yeah, and just getting the zaps working a little bit better now. And the zap worked, but I need to read in the zaps. Okay, so fetch zaps for event. So our filter is 9735, so that's a valid zap receipt, and then with an E tag of the ID. That E tag will be an event. Ah, but I see, because maybe it won't have that event. Let me go to another Noster client. And see if I can detect this zap. But no, this wasn't Plebdevs. This was my real profile, so I have to search for it. Bitcoin Plebdev. Zaps. Not seeing it here. Let's look on. No, it would be on notes. Interesting. So is it not a valid zap, or is there something we're missing in our flow here? Do I still have? Let's send another one. We'll do 21 sats this time. Pay now. Maybe it's because the way we're using WebLN. Okay, that paid. Where are you from? I'm in Austin, Texas, and thank you. This is actually partially an open source graphic still, so I need to change it a little bit more to make it my own, but I like it too. I'm usually wearing a hoodie. Okay, so we paid this invoice again, but the zap receipt seems to not be broadcasting. Just keep paying myself. Let's go. Give me the event. Okay, so we have a P tag for the profile. I've got an E tag pointing towards the event. But since this event, I think this event, since it's a parameterized replaceable event, I have to use the damn A tag thing. Let's see. This will be NIPS 57. Do this kind of PFPs and other Twitch elements as well. I'll show you my work. Yeah, check it out. I could use some design help on that front. Not the biggest priority at the moment, but I don't know what I'm gonna do next, so I use Canva personally. Okay, let's see for Zap. So A is an optional event coordinate that allows tipping parameterized replaceable events, such as NIP23 long-form notes. Yeah, so that's my problem. I have to have an A tag here. It kind of sucks to set up. Yeah, you can find it at plebdevs.com. There's a link to the Plebdevs Discord there. So just a bit of an encoding problem here. We don't want this E tag, and we can't just have the raw ID. So let's see where we're calling fetch zaps for event. This may be easy to fix. So here in course template, that's what we're doing it. We're passing in course.id. So I actually want to pass in the full course now. And we're going to have to use NIP19. Yeah. Just going to be event. NIP19. Ooh, let's actually, let's console log event. Oh wait, I can just console log course template. Here's my course. Do I already have, what is this, content, ID, image, pub key, publish it, title. So I don't have the tags. Parse event, course. Okay, so when I parse the event, tags dot for each, title, summary, image, published at author. Okay, so I need to add a D tag. Case D. So that's the ID I need, but I'm missing. And event dot data dot D is taggable one. Cool. So now if I re-render, my course should have the D tag. Yeah, let me drop in chat, sorry. In the zone. Cool. Obviously this broke my function, but I should have that field now. D, cool. And do I have the kind? Ooh, I don't have the kind. DID pub key. Okay, zap form. Don't lose this thread. Okay. So if event dot, so no matter what, all of these are actually going to be using A tags. So I shouldn't need a condition here actually. Really, it's just my filter is going to be A tag. Oh no, I broke something. Really? You're really sticking up there? Save. Let me shut it and reopen it. Oh my god, that's bad. Okay. A tag. And so this is going to be a string, and first it's going to be event.kind. So our kind number is going to be the first. Event.kind. Sweet, thanks man. Thanks for jumping in. Event.id. And then I need to look at the spec again. A tag, so kind. Is that the ID of the event? And then the D tag. Kind integer, lowercase hex of a pub key. Okay. D tag value. Cool. Event.d. Okay, so that should fix it. Where else are we using? We're using ID anywhere else? No, we got filter, default relays. We're building our event. Cool. Let's refresh now. The zaps are coming in empty. So this is for fetching and filtering for the A tags, but I still need to put in the A tag. Yes, okay. So this is when I'm building my 57, make zap request. Profile event, mount relays. So this is from Nostr Tools. So let's see how this function works. How do they account for zapping parameterized replaceable events? That is the question. So this is nip57.ts. Get zap point, make zap request. Validate zap request, make zap receipt. If event, it just pushes an E tag. So that's kind of a problem. How do I zap? Nips. I shouldn't just Google nips. Okay, zap request. E tag or A tag. So I can't use this function from this library, make zap request. I have to build it myself. That's sad. Const zap request. Let's just comment this and we'll redo it all. So 9734. Keep the content empty. Mount is mount. ln URL. That's 16 URL. So I have to Beck32 encode this to get the ln URL. I should have Beck32. Oh wait, no, it's Beck32. Do I need the ln URL tag actually? ln URL is ln URL pay URL of the recipient encoded using. Okay, so it's the ln URL pay, which is. It's not really this. That's 16 domain. That's 16 username. What does it look like when you get a response back? So, news dot well known Bitcoin Plebdev. So I should be able to see this. Yeah, no, you're good, man. I'm just trying to get this working. Callback. Do I have the LN URL? Pay request. I think it's this URL that's LN URL encoded. LUDs 06 will tell me that. Yeah, so it's this encoded. So I need to encode the response. Okay. Equals 32 dot encode I response. No, that's wrong. I guess I don't have Beck 32. Let's see how Nostr Tools is doing it. Amount relays. He doesn't even put the LN URL tag, so I'm gonna forget about it. No LN URL tag. I'm not gonna do p tag. I probably should though. So that'd be event.pubkey. And then the A tag here, gonna be, there we go. Okay, that looks right. Pub key, nope. Okay, so the ID and the SIG are going to get added through WebLN signing the event, but I actually need to get my pub key first. So, const pub key, there's a wait, not Nostr. This actually, the pub key, the user's pub key is in local storage. So actually, const pub key equals window dot local storage. I believe so. Let's check it out. Oh, I'm not logged in. Just logging in anonymously. User.pubkey. Okay. JSON.parse, I think I should do. And then it'll be user.pubkey. Let's just console log user here, just to check ourselves before we wreck ourselves. And then we'll have user.pubkey. Okay, that's looking right. So then we sign the zap request. Oof. Okay. Let's give it a try. Get inum.json is undefined. Okay. Okay, so that's stringified, or does it need to be stringified? Error fetching LUT 16 data, error invalid event. Pub key, pub key. Yeah, because pub key is not there. Cons pub key equals JSON.parse user.pub key. Okay. Come on, I have to get this to work. Valid LUT 16 data. Do we get the pub key back from this? Let me get rid of this course console log. Course. Yeah, so we have the pub key. Okay. So this is from WebLN for sure. Invalid event. So I guess we do need the LN URL there. So I'm gonna have to jump on this next time, I think. Getting tired here. I'm starting to work shitty. But yeah, I'll check out what you sent me, man. And yeah, thanks for watching. If you did, another Stacker News Monday. A lot of live coding here, but it was fun reading the dev stories. And yeah, keep an eye out for some more streams and of course videos on the YouTube later this week. So cheers.